Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to say to Ranking Member Merkley, who I think talked earlier about the genetically modified salmon, I share his comments and also join him in his remarks. Dr. Gottlieb, thank you for being here today. I'm pleased that this budget gives additional funding to help evaluate e-cigarettes. I remain deeply concerned about the skyrocketing use of e-cigarettes by our nation's youth. The CDC survey data showed an astounding 78% increase in e-cigarette use among high school students in 2018. In my home state of New Mexico, 51.5% of teens have used e-cigarettes. This is significantly higher than the national average of 42.2%. The U.S. Surgeon General has said e-cigarette smoking among youth has reached epidemic proportions. I fear that these products, especially flavored e-cigarettes, are creating a new generation of nicotine addicts. I applaud you for raising the alarm about this epidemic. However, I have been clear with you that I believe FDA must take more aggressive steps to effectively address this pressing public health concern. If new CDC survey data reveal that youth e-cigarette use does not decline in 2019, do you agree an appropriate next step is to remove flavored e-cigarettes from the market until they undergo review by the FDA?
Well, Senator, I share your concerns. I'll say at the outset, we still believe that the e-cigarettes could be a viable tool for currently addicted adult smokers to transition off of combustible tobacco onto something that, while not safe, is less harmful than combusting tobacco. And we also believe at a time when we're advancing a rule this year to regulate nicotine content in combustible cigarettes to render them minimally and non-addictive, the e-cigarettes offer another alternative for adults who still want to enjoy satisfying levels of nicotine, but it will no longer be available, presumably, in a combustible cigarette. But I've said all along that can't come at the expense of addicting a whole generation of children on these products. And what has changed our posture was the data that you cited, which I received on August 31st, and a week later we gave a statement that this was an epidemic and we were going to have to take new steps. I think if the 2019 National Youth Tobacco Survey shows another large increase in the rate of use among children, to answer your question directly, I think we will have to look at the pod-based and cartridge-based e-cigarettes as a category and consider additional regulatory steps, including the potential that we might need to seek the market withdrawal of certain of these products until they have approved PMTAs by the agency.
Don't you think we have enough evidence today to remove them from the market today for youth?
We're trying to engage in a very careful public health balancing here, and we put forward a set of policies that we want to see if they can work, which is to try to put in place significantly heightened age verification requirements for the flavored products sold at point of sale. That policy is being implemented right now. We're confident that it will be implemented. Some companies have already taken voluntary steps to comply with that. But again, to your question, if the 2019 National Youth Tobacco Survey data reveals another sharp increase, we're going to have to, significantly reevaluate what we're doing here and contemplate potentially taking these off the market. And look, all of these policies come with significant trade-offs. We do see adults switching to e-cigarettes. There's anecdotal evidence of that. There's some data to suggest that currently addicted adult smokers are transitioning to the e-cigarettes. So there is, a very careful public health balancing that we've been trying to engage in here, but we can't get caught behind the curve, to your point.
Yeah, and you, can we expect anything from you before you leave? I mean, this would be a nice way to go out of office.
Well, look, I pushed hard to get out that policy on the issues around the flavored products at point of sale, and I'm very confident we got broad support from the White House within the administration. Secretary Alex Azar is very strong on this issue, and we got strong statements of support from the White House. I'm very confident that that policy will be finalized and implemented. We got out a foundational rule today with respect to tobacco, and we'll continue to make tobacco policy right out the door. But I'm also very confident that my successor is going to pick up the mantle here and will share my concerns around the youth use.
Yeah, well, as you know, and you and I have talked about this before, as a state attorney general, we sued the tobacco companies, and our strongest case was that they were addicting young people, and they had the studies, and they said if you addict young people, then they get a smoker for life. And I think that's what they're doing here, and I'm glad you're on top of it, and I hope you be as aggressive as you can before you leave, because I think we're in the middle of an epidemic, and I think we really need to do something about it. Thank you very much, and we're going to miss you a lot.
Thank you, Senator.